What's up, my friends? I hope you guys are doing well today, especially because this video is going to be dedicated to a bit of a contentious subject amongst some people in the fragrance community, and that is the subject of dupe fragrances, clones, the fragrances that are inspired by, as you know. And I've got to be honest, I waffle back and forth with where I stand, because on one hand, I know that some of these companies, are charging $500, $400, even some of the higher end designer fragrances can be quite expensive, and not everybody has the money to spend on these things. And I think everybody deserves to be able to smell good and feel good about themselves. But on the other end of the spectrum, these companies have invested a lot of time, a lot of resources into coming up with these amazing scent profiles and formulas and marketing them. And then you've got some of these houses that come along and say, you know what, we can do that. We can do almost the exact same thing for a fraction of the price. Say what you will about the process. Like I said, I don't know where I stand on it quite yet, but the fact of the matter is, no matter where you stand, clone fragrances are on the market. They are being bought, and we need to talk about them. So I'm bringing you 6, not 7 this time, 6 fragrances that are clones or inspired bys, and we're going to see how they measure up. Let's go. Now, one thing that is important to remember about clone fragrances is that you have to go into them with the proper expectations. They are not usually going to smell 100% like the original fragrance that they are taking inspiration from. Additionally, they are not always going to be in the $20, $25, $30 range. Sometimes they can get up to $50, $60, or $70. It doesn't mean that they're not worth it. All it means is keep the expectations realistic when you're looking for these, okay? So the first fragrance we're going to talk about is a fragrance from the house of Pete and Pedro, who makes grooming products, hair gels, body washes, and things like that. This is Pete and Pedro's Legend, and this is inspired by Tom Ford's Effing Fabulous. You don't get too many clones of Effing Fabulous these days. And I myself, Effing Fabulous is not my favorite Tom Ford fragrance. I do prefer the ombre leather, the Tuscan leather, the tobacco vanille, the oud wood, but the Effing Fabulous, it's not bad at all. So there's a very unique mix of notes in here. It starts off, kind of herbaceous and citrusy. It's got some orange, some thyme, some cardamom and nutmeg. As whenever you first spray it on, that's kind of what you're getting. And then as it dries off into the mid and base notes, you've got some iris and jasmine, some leather, some amber, some oak moss, some vanilla, some tonka. I mean, there's just a big, hodgepodge. It works pretty well, but it seems like everything was just kind of thrown together. Now, it's a very good spring and summer fragrance, and this particular bottle is going to run about $50 to $60. But how close is it to the Effing Fabulous? I would say myself, I would think 65 to 70%, at least from what I'm smelling it as. It definitely has the same feel. It is definitely used in the same seasons, but it's only about a fifth of the price, or maybe a fifth of the price at about $50. I think it's a good buy myself. I think Pete and Pedro, I think they did a very good job with this fragrance, and if you have smelled Effing Fabulous before, you'll pick up on it in this bottle. If you have never smelled Effing Fabulous, I definitely recommend this one as a good spring fragrance. It's going to make you smell alive and fresh. Everything's blooming around you, and this is going to match the season. I'm just saying. All right, fragrance number 2, we are going to go with the Creed Aventus clone of the group here. You always have to have one of those when you're talking about clone fragrances, right? And they are a dime a dozen, okay? You can find them everywhere. But this one is from the house of Banana Republic. It is Black Walnut Legend. And honestly, aside from Club de Nuit Intense Man, this one is one of my favorite Creed Aventus clones. It's got that sweet top note, but it's not pineapple in here. It's more bergamot and lemon. All right, and then as it, bump the camera there, and then as it dries off, you're going to get that birch. You're going to get some of that black currant in there. All of these things mixed together, and I would say it's about 85% to 90% Creed Aventus. But if you look for this and you find it, the best place to look for it, that is going to be rack stores, TJ Maxx, Ross, Marshalls. I got this one at Burlington, $25, okay? And it is absolutely worth it. Now, it only lasts about 5.5 to 6 hours on my skin, but it does the job for the price especially. Now, the scent profile, as I described some of the notes, I definitely think that this is going to be a little bit of a sweeter version of something like Mont Blanc Explorer, but it leans more towards Aventus. So you get a little bit more of that sweet and a little bit less of the woodiness in this particular fragrance. So Black Walnut Legend from Banana Republic, I definitely, for the price, if you want something Creed Aventus fashion, this is a great one to get, okay? Now, fragrance number 3, we're going to go with something that is inspired by one of the most popular designer fragrances of all time, Acqua di Gio, all right? But we're going to talk about Perry Ellis 360 Red. This one, only $15, $20, and once again, I found this one at a rack store as well. I got this particular one from Ross, and it was $22 for a 100 milliliter bottle, and I love it. I have recommended this one to quite a few people, and they have come back saying that they love the way that it smells, and I agree. This is a great summertime fragrance. It's aquatic. It's a little bit musky and a little bit sweet under there as well, but if you are familiar with Giorgio Armani's Acqua di Gio, then you are absolutely going to be turned on to this one. I think this is around 90 to 95% similar to the original Acqua di Gio. The longevity is there, okay? The projection is there. It's not going to get you very far in the fall or winter time. It just it doesn't jive very well with cold weather. But overall, if you like the warmer weather, it's going to work, and at a fraction of you can't go wrong with this price, man. It smells so freaking good at $15 to $20, man. So you can even find it for that price online, okay? So don't think that you have to just go to the rack stores to shop for this one. You can find this one pretty much anywhere online, okay? So Perry Ellis 360 Red, this is a good one to go with. All right, number 4, we are going next to the House of Rasasi. Rasasi is a very awesome Middle Eastern house that makes some original fragrances as well as some clones. And this particular one, Rasasi is more known for Hawas for men. That's my personal favorite from the house. But this one right here is a close second, and I love this line. This is Rasasi's La Yukon pour Homme. And this one is a fall and wintertime fragrance. And it is inspired by, or is supposed to be inspired by, Tom Ford's Tuscan leather. Now, here's the thing, okay? Everybody has told me that this is Tom Ford Tuscan leather in a bottle. I have Tom Ford Tuscan leather, but I also have Tom Ford's ombre leather. And when I spray this one, I actually get more ombre leather than Tuscan leather. I'm not saying it's not inspired by the Tuscan leather, but I actually get more ombre. Why? Because the ombre leather is not spicy, and this one is not spicy. It's got those leather notes in there, some of those, some slight woody notes, some slight herbal notes in there, but it's also got this amazing top note of saffron and raspberry, and I love the way this one smells right here. And even when I first bought this and smelled it, it smelled very, very dry. So this is actually a fragrance that I recommend if you are in a place like me where it is hot most of the year. As long as it's not too humid outside, you can actually get away with wearing this fragrance. An amazing leather-based fragrance. This one right here, probably the most expensive one on this list. It comes in at about $65 to $70, depending on where you find it. Okay, you can find it on fragrancebuy.ca. I think you can find it on Fragrance X. Where did I get this one, though? Amazon. I found it on Amazon. I decided I wanted to test out how Amazon did with their fragrances and everything, because you get kind of you look at it a little bit crooked-eyed whenever you're like, Amazon's pushing fragrances. Who are they? Who's the third party that's selling it? I didn't have any problems with this one. Rasasi's La Yukon pour Homme. If you want a good affordable summer, or a good affordable leather fragrance that is a good clone to a Tom Ford, this is going to be one to go with, okay? Check that one out. Next up, going with a good designer fragrance. Again, well, the dupe of a designer fragrance. This one has gained a lot of traction online, and you can find this pretty much anywhere. Another safe buy if you shop on Amazon from the house of Cremo. This is Spice and Black Vanilla right here, man. As you can see, when it comes to fragrances, I've kind of worn into this one a little bit. It's one of my more recent purchases in the last 6 months, so I haven't torn into this one too much. But this is a great inspired by fragrance that is a clone of Viktor and Rolf's Spice Bomb Extreme. It's a little bit sweeter. It's not quite as heavy on the tobacco. And even though it doesn't officially list tobacco as one of the fragrances in here, the spice from here is what really comes over from the Viktor and Rolf that they use really well in this Cremo. Only about $22 to $23 for this 100 milliliter bottle. And if you can find this one at rack stores, I actually got 2 bottles of Cremo from TJ Maxx, $13 each, my friends. $13 if you find this in rack stores. If not, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Amazon, any of these places, and you can get this one for about $20 to $25. It's a great purchase, and I absolutely recommend this one. It's going to last about 6 hours, not quite the 12-hour monster that Spice Bomb Extreme is, but like I said, when you're only paying $25 for it, how bad can you complain? I think it is an absolute banger at this price. And I dare say as well, after I've got into Cremo fragrances, I've also gotten into their hair gels. I've gotten into their shampoos, their body washes. I'm a big Cremo fan, okay? I'll go ahead and say it. So if you guys are Cremo watching, hit me up, man. I don't mind partnering with you, okay? All right, now the last fragrance on this list is going to be from Club de Nuit. And this is not Intense Man or any rendition of Intense Man. But it is thought, by myself included, there have been some fragrance experts and perfumers that think that this may be one of the most exact replicas of a fragrance that is available on the market. This is Club de Nuit Sillage, and this one is a clone of Creed's Silver Mountain Water. Now, I have smelled both, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm not the biggest fan of this fragrance or Creed Silver Mountain Water. I don't really take to its scent profile. But when we are rating how good clone fragrances are, we're not thinking so much about performance anymore. We're not thinking so much, about the typical things that we would normally rate a regular fragrance on. What we are doing is rating how close this is to the original. And my friends, when I say this is 95 to 100% spot on, maybe even 110% spot on. And here's what I mean by that. I mean it. And here's what I mean by the 110% is that this one right here outperforms its original. The Silver Mountain Water from Creed lasts about 6 hours. And it's right at about $450 to $500 for the bottle. This one right here, the Sillage from Club de Nuit, lasts on my skin between 8 and 10 hours. It performs a little bit better as far as the projection goes, and this one costs about $55 to $60. Now, what does it actually smell like? Well, when you first spray it on, you're hit with a pretty big burst of citrus, but on top of the citrus is a very heavy musk. The musk is so heavy, it almost smells metallic in a sense. That's not for everybody. And like I said, it is not for me either. I just can't really get down with it. It's too abrasive to me. But I have tested this. I have tried it out and worn it quite a few times. And I will say this. If there's one fragrance that exists on planet Earth that can cut through heat, this one right here can cut through the heat. It can cut through humidity. It can be 95 degrees outside with 80% humidity like it is in the middle of July here. And this one really, really wears very well in that heat. So that's why I still wear this, because I like to have a fragrance that I can wear outside when it's really hot and still have it perform. So Club de Nuit Sillage, my friends. If you get a second, if you don't mind this type of scent profile, then I recommend grabbing it up. There it is, right there. Club de Nuit Sillage. You know, guys, even as I've made this video, I think I'm probably going to fall mostly on the side of cologne fragrances. Not that I'm filling my collection up with just colognes. That's not what I'm going to do. I don't have any urge to do that, you know, but I don't want them out of the market, I don't think. Why? Because everybody deserves to smell good. You know, I want people to feel good about themselves, but you don't have to be rich to do that. And having cologne fragrances can really help with that. Get a $25 bottle of cologne and it will make you feel like $1 million. But I say that I'm not fully on the side of colognes because there are some companies that exist out there, and I'm not going to name any names, but they have made it their entire platform, their entire business to openly rip off these fragrances, put them in their own bottle, screw on a cap, and send it to you. And I actually, you know, when I was early into my cologne fragrance review channel, I had a company send me about 7 bottles. But, you know, as I got to think about it and I looked at it, they're like, you know what? We're going to take this Tom Ford fragrance. We're going to take this Creed fragrance. We're going to take this Parfums de Marly fragrance, and we're going to make it more affordable to you. They literally used the name in their descriptions, and they sent it to you. And at the end of the day, it just didn't feel right. So I gave my fragrances away. And that was that, and I'm not going to do any business with them. I just don't respect that type of hustle. You know, I don't even think it's a hustle. I think it's a ripoff. And apparently there's no law about it. I don't know, but I hate that crap. But these other clones, at least this has a sense of originality. At least this has a sense of originality. I'm all for that. Okay? Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this entire thing in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts on clones and dupe fragrances. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to see you again. Take care.